was printed. I used to own some of those books. Okay, we are live, and as always, good morning to everybody. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. We are starting off with our Engineering the Markets this morning. So as always, my name is Jared. It is December 6th, 2022, and happy Tuesday to anyone who is joining us from yesterday. So kind of keeping the theme of some of the volatility in this market and looking at yesterday's session, we had a declining session. And what's important to note about the sell in the market yesterday was the type of selling going on, along with what sectors kind of led the charge. There wasn't necessarily a all-out sell swing on every single sector. Some held up a little bit better than others, albeit they did close red. You can certainly see that in Trading Terminal. If you're looking just at yesterday's trade performance, most of the sectors were hit to some degree, but there are some standouts. As we look lower in the list, we see that as we get beyond the SPY's normalized performance, which was about down 1.12%, some of our market cap leading sectors did see a little bit of relative strength. They kind of led to the downside after we got ISM numbers. But more specifically, the ones that took the largest hit and were actually selling before some of the data came out were financials and energy. And what's interesting here is the why. Why are these sectors selling as hard as they are? Are they coming from a position of weakness, or have they been holding up better and starting to see a decline? And for that, we'll take a look at some of our charts to get a sense of the potential downside that these particular sectors could be experiencing. Before we do that, the SPX and the weekly expected move. One thing I mentioned yesterday was I have an inclination that the volatility pricing in the SPX is a little bit under what we're seeing as far as actualized volatility. If you recall, we're only pricing right now about a $66 expected move for the week. And as you can see on yesterday's session, we achieved all of that expected move and then a little bit more. More specifically, as we were starting to sell off yesterday, the option market was starting to get increases in its implied volatility. And maybe this isn't necessarily accurate now, but near the lows of the session, this particular option series was pricing about a $70 or 70 point expected move, which just shows that as the market was declining, the option market was saying, hey, the volatility is off, and starting to increase that number, which derived into more expected volatility for the remainder of the week. Now, obviously, this is dropped a little bit as we kind of bounced yesterday afternoon. But all in all, what you're noticing here is that on one trade session, the market is able to move the equivalent of what the weekly expected move dictates. And that's a problem. That should not necessarily be the norm, indicating that short-term volatility is either somewhat inaccurate or lower than what the market is realizing. And that's a very risky situation, especially if we start to continue to decline. That risk can actually accelerate. And this is true in both directions, but obviously yesterday was more of a sell swing kind of day. Some notes about this as well in regards to strategy. Be careful selling short-term premium in this market. Not only do we have a lot of elevated assets, and the downside risk right now is starting to show a little bit more than it was for the past couple weeks, but additionally, the short-term volatility is underpriced. Usually you can see this with things like volatility studies. So if you're doing something kind of simple, you can pull up something as easy as a historical volatility versus an implied. And I think normally I want to make this a 30 because the implied starts at 30. So it's basically showing the 30-day, basically the VIX at this point in time. And if you're able to chart these two, what you'll notice is historical volatility is slightly higher than what we're currently registering inside of something like the 30-day VIX. 21, 22 prints for vol futures right now, and kind of the active contracts is lower than the price movements. And that's been true for a little while, but most of the time we've been seeing back and forth trade. Anytime we see an actual breach on the weekly, that would be more of a concerning look, as we have the potential to sell much further and much faster on those declines. So be a little careful of that. So shifting more into the sector approach. Trend notwithstanding, we still are holding our corrective uptrend. We have, for the moment, pushed away from our more critical resistance point. And this appears to be a moment for the market to really choose one way or the other. Things often tighten up here for a couple of sessions, and then usually that energy gets released as a lot of these relative trend lines kind of converge and then experience some sort of decision. But on yesterday's session, and more so, what impacts does this have on our technical picture? Yesterday was fairly correlated. If you're looking at S&P 500, for the most part, most of our assets were declining. There was a couple of advancing stocks on the session, but even the ones that started strong did have some give back into the close. This is also true of the NASDAQ, but there were, once again, some spots of bullish interest. Usually the China names are a little bit more in focus for the NASDAQ 100. And then last but not least, since the Dow has been one of our stronger indices, this did have some of that blend, and most of it came from healthcare, which I would say was a outperformer on yesterday's trade. You can actually see that here. Healthcare was down on the session, but only by a nominal degree. Utilities actually was the best performing sector, even though it was down. So those are some notes from yesterday. And where most of the strongest selling took place was actually the Russell. The Russell was our lead decliner. You can see that on the session, it was down 2%. Most of the selling that was experienced in the IWM started in the morning. And that's what made it kind of interesting. It started the day weak. There was weakness in energy stocks and weakness in financials, but the focus on selling yesterday was categorically inside of regional banks and a lot of oil and gas sort of exploration companies. Any of those were often hit probably the worst. The smaller caps are more volatile. So usually when there is a relative weakness or relative strength, anything that has a higher volatility will often move higher percentages, simply because it's a one-directional trade, and yet these have more risk built into their capacity for movement. So when you start to see like a couple of those key sectors selling or buying, And when you look at something like small caps, which are more sensitive to rate hike changes, and that is something we saw yesterday as well, all of that culminated into a very poor IWM session and a steeper decline for most of the day. With regards to energy is one of those sectors that has been holding up. And it's noteworthy to see as a strong sector starts to sell. You want to understand if we're still trending. Is there some sort of overbought or oversold risk to this market? And if the correction has the potential to be a much deeper pullback, knowing that the market can experience some struggle during that time kind of keeps you out of certain types of pullbacks, basically avoiding the noise and chop of fighting the sector. Energy probably was our worst performer. Banks were bad too, and it doesn't really show heavily on the financial chart, but more so a regional bank ETF like KRE. And then I have a second one here, a KBWB. So Kilo Bravo, Whiskey Bravo. These, more focused ETFs, the ones that showcase a smaller industry of financials, not just the whole financial group, they indicate that there was a heavier hit in banks. And you can kind of see that as you skim through some of the larger names, like Bank of America was probably the worst larger cap bank on the session, but it was felt throughout the market. JPM, first time really trading under these short-term moving average type trends and not necessarily breaching trends significantly, but selling off from a high is often the risk. It's the unknown of how deep can this correction be, simply because you've advanced significantly as well. So anything within this region is still a healthy pullback, but during that time, it'll feel as if the market is weak. Those are the notes kind of from yesterday, and reviewing some of the stocks that traded this way might kind of give us a little bit of pause in both the uptrend of the S&P, along with continued selling would potentially break our uptrend and start a little bit more of a corrective downside move, albeit not necessarily going for lows of the year. So very noteworthy. I won't go through everything, but there are a couple standouts. Regional banks, I would kind of check, and energy, which as y'all know, I'm not necessarily all out bearish energy, but I am looking for a divergence in energy stocks to correct itself. Crude market pricing, the decline in gasoline prices, and natural gas weakness, all of them are facilitating a correction in energy stocks. And I think we're finally seeing some of the breaking of the trend. So just keep all that in mind as we kind of move forward. The selling notwithstanding was also hitting the consumer discretionaries. They were underperforming yesterday. You'll note that they kind of fall in line with energy. Consumer discretionaries, however, can hold significantly more market cap. I would probably equate that similar to, I do want to double check this just to make sure I'm getting my percentages right. So consumer discretionary represents about 10% of the S&P. Financials represent about 11. So these, for the most part, are equivalent. Consumer discretionaries were as weak, if not weaker, than financials. So 20% of the S&P underperformed the actual move on yesterday's session. And then you look at energy, which used to not have this type of market cap weighting, but it represents 5. And this used to be much closer to like 2 to 3%. the rally in energy stocks this year has significantly changed the holdings of the S&P relative to those companies. And as I mentioned before, there's a much higher degree of sensitivity to stocks like ExxonMobil and Chevron than you would assume stocks that are technology names, leaders like NVIDIA, and even some of our financials like JP Morgan. So just remember that. If you're ever kind of trying to find relative strength and relative weakness, you're trying to understand how the S&P is impacted by it. And more specifically, when you see a full sector going up or down, that's a pretty hard trend to fight. I think a lot of short-term trade is often dictated by whether or not the market is correlated. Are we seeing all sectors declining at the same time, and which sectors are the worst? Those allow the market to stay in downtrends for significant periods, to break supports, and really to go through measured move type reactions. I do want to call out that there was some key mark trade on yesterday's session, but you had to be looking at the sell swings. Let me go ahead and just kind of remove some of the minutia. As a bear, for the most part, you don't have to be engaged with the market during this time. This is when the data dropped. But what you start to notice is, as we're pulling away from that reaction, there's another sell swing starting to form. And it might be a little challenging to get into on the short-term time frames, but you get equivalent kind of like rally, correction rally, even though it is a downside rally. Sell, pullback, sell. The measured move is exactly the same. And even more so, if we continue to sell, you can even anchor it to a doubling of the range. Because if the market can sell from this high to this low, there's no reason to think that it can't break the low and double it. And that's exactly what derived our low of the session. So a lot of traders yesterday were actually inquiring, how short should I be? When should I take profit? And where's my target? And for the most part, we don't know exactly where the low of day is, but we have an idea of how bad it can be, the potential of the move. This is what technicals help us do. It's the idea that there are bulls and bears in this region of price. Some of them get out of the way. Some of them sell, profit take / take a loss. Some of them get in on back tests and basically exit the market as close to break even as possible. And some of them hedge. There are bulls out there that don't mind the selling simply because they have a position that neutralizes the delta exposure. So they might be long the market, long delta, long SPY, whatever. But they have something that's the opposite trade, and that's the thing that's winning while the market's declining, and they're allowed to hold on to this for as long as that's balanced. So those type of participants can experience certain types of decline, and oftentimes we derive price relative to the steepness of previous moves. And that's usually where hedging kind of hits its head. Doubling of expected move, 2 sigma moves, all this derivation of numbers relative to previous moves. This is kind of how technicals helps us define both the trade itself and the target. And that's what's most important, is when is the trade over, especially because we only have so much time to trade. You can even see this on the backswing, and this is kind of important too. As a long, you might be searching for low of day. You think the risk to reward starting to look good. You're just trying to find it. It's good to know how far you can go, because that's the first part, is like, how bad can it be? But you also want to know, if I catch a bounce, what's my target? How high can a good bounce take me? And as we look at low of day, once again, this took hours to form. Same idea here. This took about an hour of corrective move. But the upside here is that we get back into a value zone, a demand zone that simply broke down. And you have to catch these low of days as intraday traders with the right signals, the right risk, but understand that they're not just for cents. You know, they're actually built to move a couple of dollars, equivalent moves once things are fully derived. I love technicals for this reason. It just simplifies price. It allows us to understand why things are moving a certain way, and to some degree helps us derive how to trade it. You know, what to do in the face of that volume, that trend, that momentum, that range, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully some people took advantage of that yesterday. I think it was around the time my session was going on. Not only were people net short because the market was declining, but they were also looking when to get out. You know, how far should I consider a profit target? And we looked at some of those doublings to kind of help with that assessment. So for today, you know, just kind of shifting back into what's the trade like today. I would say things are opening up a little noisy. We do have some value assessment at 400. Kind of makes sense to stay at this price for a little bit of time. So I wouldn't be in a major rush to trade anything this morning until we kind of see what the morning balance range looks like, and ideally get some sort of orb to get us out of this higher value zone. Excuse me, I'm hiccuping my breakfast. So the SPY is opening up inside yesterday's trade, and it's not only the fact that we're inside, I think it's more the fact that we're opening near some of the higher value regions of yesterday's trade. You get like a volume study together, you push it just to a day. So you're only looking at yesterday's trade. And what you start to see is that the market trended, but it accepted lower value during that trend. This is where larger transactional price took place, and it's close to previous day close, so it shouldn't surprise anyone there. It's kind of hard to trade at these prices. It tends to be a little noisy. Oftentimes you do want price to maybe move away from it, but you can also set up trades at it and essentially take the probability that we're either going to stay above our value zone and maybe just kind of climb, recover a little bit, or in the case of a rejection, you know, pushing further lower and continuing this the sell swing. I would be looking at sectors to get a sense of, are these relatively weak sectors ready to sell again? You know, basically, are they breaking lows of yesterday? Are they coming off even further, maybe starting to fill some of the gaps that have formed over time? Along with, are we continuing to see some sell participation inside of the larger market cap sectors, a tech, a discretionary, et cetera, et cetera? Because usually after a large sell, there's a little bit of consolidation. And that's why it's hard to say that today is going to be another declining day. Yesterday was the declining day. Today is probably the balance assessment type of day. But I will give it to the bears. They do have an inflection high. They have, at the very least, a drawdown of a momentum move that occurred near resistance. That's often a bad sign. You know, if the market tries to accelerate into resistance and get stuffed immediately, usually people are kind of looking for a little bit more decline afterwards. They're trying to kill this candles is the idea. And then I'm gonna take off this study real quick. as far as maybe some stocks in play, we had one earnings that at the very least is moving. GitLab doesn't have the greatest option market, so I can't really derive a great expected move. However, if anyone was playing GitLab on yesterday's trade, they would have traded in this series. So all of our open interest is here. The problem is that there are $5 wide strikes, which is a little challenging because it's just a big spread. And it's also not the weekly. So it technically has more time to expire. All that said, it is gapping up. It's a pretty strong reaction. About, I think it was maybe $10, $9, $9 to $10, and fading a little bit. So, bull flag. I try to see if the market wants to offer any more upside here. And then the fade potential is that we could come into something like a 43.50. So the technicals are clean here. The price reactions are kind of clean. Just be looking for a decision because we're not really at support. We are setting up some flagging structure and it starts bullish. But if the market is weak, I would expect more of the fade across most assets, not just earning stocks. Unfortunately, that's really all that we have at this point because earnings is coming pretty much to a close. We have a couple things this week that are maybe in focus for the traders out there, like GameStop. Campbell Soup is a decent staple name to watch. Costco would be one maybe to focus on for correlation to like a Walmart and some of the consumer spending habits. That one actually took a pretty brief sell on Thursday, I believe it was. And yeah, I don't really see much else. Maybe an AutoZone, but these are lower priority names. You might just want to trade them once or twice into their earnings, once or twice after, and then call it a day. Never look at them again until next earnings season. But I mean, most day traders stay away from stocks priced this high. It's more of an option trade, and an academy. That one at least is kind of within a good price region for day traders. But volume is low, volatility tends to be low, and they're just not often in play. So most traders either ignore them or only trade them once or twice. So that's pretty much all I got. So it's 2 minutes until I'm over. I'm gonna just call it quits here. Trade safe today. Be on the lookout for a little bit of noise and chop. That 400 price is a little awkward. I don't like trading around it. I'd rather trade into it. And if the market can push away, I'll try and keep to that direction. But usually what I find happens is you'll see something that looks like it's ready to go. You kind of find like a stall point, and then it snaps back to these decision prices. It's a lot of value return, tends to be an inside kind of day, and hopefully the sector's aligned to that. But if you see more weakness, it would be ideally concentrated in financials, energy, and to some degree discretionaries, the weaker sectors from yesterday. So with all that said, my name is Jared. Trade safe. Like and subscribe if you like the content. Stay tuned for pre-market prep, and we'll talk more tomorrow.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the PreMarket Prep. I hope everyone is having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good. Um, all right, guys. Let's get to it. Shout out to Jad for engineering the markets every Monday through Thursday, guys. Let's give him a big thumbs up over on YouTube. Just a lot of information there every single morning except Friday. So thank you for that, Jared. Guys, our gappers list this morning. Not a whole lot going on here. Seems very quiet, Norm. I didn't see anything
Yeah.
great as I was skimming through this. Things could get better. We had a good sell-off day yesterday on a lot of the stuff we were watching. We'll go over that in a second. But for the most part, right now, this gappers list is again not looking great. So hopefully this will look much different once we get closer to that 9:30 start. Um,
Yeah, we might have to. I have a feeling I don't know that our gappers is going to be great this morning. I think we'll get some market moves today after that,
mhm,
like you mentioned, the kind of the route in the markets yesterday,
yeah.
pulling back below the 200 on the daily, and and back down below some moving averages. So we're right around previous day close, up 0.1% on the SPY, point 0.2 or zero point 0.2 on the Qs.
Mhm.
Yeah. So let's. I think we just need to kind of let the market see if there's anybody in there that wants to bite right now, and
Yeah,
if
yeah.
not, then maybe we get continuation off yesterday. Really, no big data today. I believe trade deficit came out at 8:30, just a couple of minutes ago. That's not going to do anything. So, of course, we've got coming up a decent chunk of data. Um, Initial jobless claims and continuing claims, the weeklies, as we usually get on Thursdays, will be out Thursday. Producer price index, consumer sentiment on Friday. And then next week, of course, we've got the FOMC meeting and policy announcement on Tuesday meeting, Wednesday announcement, and press conference. So CPI data on Tuesday. So we've got some big days coming up. I think we might just kind of Netflix and chill until we get there.
Yeah, yeah. All right, guys. So let's take a look at quickly some of the stuff we had yesterday on our list. If you look here, again, just a big type sell-off day. So if you're looking for short opportunities, there are plenty. Here was Neo. Neo was the big one yesterday that a lot of us took advantage of because it was so clean. So a big drop there into the market open did give you a nice little pullback here, an aggressive pullback actually, and then you can see the continuation. This was a beautiful setup, guys. So if you missed the initial, I said 1 minute breakdown or just a scalp early on, this thing gave you a nice opportunity, and you see the weakness coming in, selling down some. XBEV was very similar as well. Again, a lot of plays, and these stocks were actually very strong, right? We saw a lot of Chinese tickers being up yesterday. Many of them selling back down to their previous day, the day before's close, right? So we saw a lot of that yesterday. Tesla very active. Had a crazy pre-market activity. If you guys remember, incorrect data came out, was corrected by officials in the company. Still sold off at the market open, just overall market move, but very interesting pre-market yesterday. Nvidia. How about this, guys? Look how bad Nvidia was. Again, we had it here because one of our usual suspects, and we didn't have much to watch, but it had no volume pre-market. It was very light. This morning as well, the volume is extremely light at only 70,000. I mean, I can't recall Nvidia being this low pre-market. So I don't expect anything great today unless we have some massive moves in the market open. And Amazon had a great sell-off as well, pretty much following the overall SPY there. So there were some good moves yesterday. Hopefully today we can get some of that as well. Then we had Bob and some other ones that actually moved pretty well as also. All right, guys, let's get to our gappers list this morning. We'll remove the stuff from yesterday. Control A, Control X takes care of that. And let's see what we have here. This is a WNT. Looks like a buyout, right? I think Vivian Smart.
VVNT.
Yeah,
Um,
VVNT. Yeah.
yeah, it's a buyout in RG Energy, which is on our gap down list. Buying them. It's cash buyout, so nothing really happening there.
Yeah. So I'm
You
not
might have a
really.
trade on energy in RG, but
Mhm.
not Vivi.
Yeah. If you're looking at NRG now, guys, a big drop down 9.4. So again, there possibly could be a play here. I don't like the ticker as much at the moment. There's just not a whole lot of volume on it. Only 167,000. Has dropped almost $4 here. So the move is there, but just the volume, we need more of that. GTLB, this is up 15% this morning. Again, very weird pre-market activity, not the best. Had a this earnings last night, it looks like, on this
Yeah,
one.
they
Yeah.
did have earnings last night. They seem to have beat them. This is not a ticker that comes up very often for us. They've got, I wouldn't call it a high short float, but slightly elevated at like 12%, just shy of 12%, right around 12%, depending on the source you're looking at. So could be interesting. I don't know this ticker very well. I've not
Yeah.
traded it. I don't recall it being on our gappers before, but maybe
Me
maybe it
neither,
has
man.
been.
The name doesn't ring a bell at all. G Lab here, but
You
again,
have some levels on there, or no?
no, I do not. No,
Okay.
no. See, if we would have saw this, we would have had some levels from the past because I don't delete them. But
Yeah.
there's nothing on
exactly.
here, so yeah, I don't think we ever looked
Yep.
at this. So, daily doesn't look great, guys. Volume is very light. So again, today could be a difference. They do have some news here, so obviously, let's put it as a possible. We'll come back and see how that's doing a little bit later. But it doesn't look great, though. I'm not expecting a whole lot out of that. Here is Frey. Frey trace horrible. We've seen this on our list plenty of times. You know, you get these spikes here and there where you have some decent volume. Not good, decent, right? Only for 15 million. And then from there, it really doesn't trail a whole lot of volume. As you can see here, 4 million yesterday looks like, and today you're seeing some, whatever you want to call this, pre-market activity. Again, it's just not a great ticker. So I usually stay away from this one. We've seen this one plenty of
I would
times
go
on
as
our
far as
gappers
calling
list.
it terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's look at not a whole lot of Chinese stocks in our list this morning. Billy's on here though. Billy's up 2.7, 500,000 almost here. Big sell-off yesterday as many stocks sold off, especially it seems like the Chinese stocks sold off a little bit more than anything else, just because they had such the big gap up yesterday. It just seems that way. But this one is up 2.7. I don't know that it's really in play today. The volume, though, is a lot higher than what we're used to seeing, Norma. I didn't check. Do we have any news on this one? I didn't check.
On which one?
On Billy.
I think it's just the general China stuff. There's
Okay.
still, talk of easing COVID restrictions and causing those to pop up a little bit. These things are very beaten down over the last year or so. So
Yeah. So Billy here, guys, up slightly, but again, I don't see anything great on it. I'll put it as a possible for now. Lee's making some noise as well, just getting above that 2% there, so up 2.5. But man, pre-market activity could be much better. It does have 442,000, but I would like to see something better out of Lee here this morning. Gapping down, we already looked at NRG. So again, there's a lot of moves here, almost down $4, 9.4% there. Volume could be better. I do have it. I do think it can be a good possible if we can get the volume though, right? So this thing is in play. Let's see what happens here. SI for the most part, we're down 11.4. We've seen this plenty of times on our list. I don't put this on our list. I don't trade this. This is
Silvergate. It's a crypto crypto deal that's getting hit by some of the stuff going on with FTX and everything else. So
yeah. In play, guys, got a nice pre-market activity this morning. I'm not a fan of this ticker at all, so I'm going to stay away from that one. AVXL this morning, they are down 2.8, 127,000. Man, this is, talk about a nasty daily here, guys. This is it. It's just really all over the place. Yesterday sold off from 11 to about 950. Today's not doing a whole lot, but they're hitting the numbers, right? They're down above 2%. They're above 100,000 shares traded. So it's going to be on our scanners. I just don't know if you're going to get the volume, right? The volume is very sporadic on this. You got some here, 45 million, and then it just dries up down to 4 million, right? Even on days where you have such a big move, like 1250 down to 9 something, and you did that with what seems to be 5 million shares. So that is very light volume for that type of move. Usually signifies choppy or not a very liquid price action, which I'm not a fan of at all. So not sure what to expect on it, guys. It can go either way here. I don't know. What's the news on this? No, do we have anything worth even?
They had some. It's a biotech. They had some news on an Alzheimer's drug, but that came out yesterday
Oh, this was.
mid-afternoon. So
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm taking this off. All right. Yeah. I don't want to deal with that. We'll take that off. No, I'm not dealing with that. RCL guys this morning down 2.8, barely any volume. I don't think this is even in play. The only thing that looks interesting here, guys, is that we might be losing this level here as we're slamming right into that 50, 57.50 looks like a 57.55. That's about it. Other than that, it really has no volume whatsoever. But I had a weekday yesterday, see that there, and then today we're gapping down again against this level. That could be interesting if there is any news. But that type of volume tells me it's not a whole lot going on right now, with just 104,000. Norm, anything? So we'll look for that in our scanners, by the way, RCL. If it hits our scanners, we can take advantage of it. Anything you like, Norm, this morning?
going back to bed.
That's exactly what
No.
this looks like.
Yeah, this is a pretty. Well, we did just have MRTX pop up on the
I saw
gappers.
that.
Pull that one.
Yeah, down 18%.
No, I mean this is a pretty terrible scanner this morning. So I think we look for usual suspects. I think I will. My game plan for the market opening is keep an eye on scanners, give it a little bit of time, see how things pan out. We are going to get a move. Um, and it could be a good move. I just, some days you don't have the gappers in your favor. You play your usual suspects. I like Tesla, Nvidia for that. Like you mentioned, Nvidia has pretty light volume. Tesla's got fairly light volume, 635,000. 696,000 shares traded this morning. So, I mean, that's not terrible volume, but Tesla a lot of times gets more than that. So,
yeah,
we'll just sit back and watch, maybe trade some ETFs or something.
yeah. I agree there. Tesla, by the way, probably the best pre-market activity we have so far this morning. So
And
yeah,
that's not saying much because that's
yeah.
pretty. That looks
For
like a
them,
Rorschach test.
for them, it's not great. Yeah, we see much better. So we'll add Tesla on here. Volume is climbing though, 700,000 now. Let's see where that's gonna end in a few minutes. All right, let's take it to the chat. What do you guys like this morning? Question here, Carlos. Should 1 minute and 5 minute VWAP value be slightly different? Um, I would think they will be slightly different, right? Actually, no, they'll be the same. They should be the same,
What are you
right?
talking about?
The 5 minute, 1 minute with the VWAP value be slightly different on the 1 and the 5
What?
minutes. Like for example, on the 1 minute chart versus the 5 minute chart with the VWAP be different.
There's a slight difference in them. The VWAP. So I use VWAP in the montage, like you have it up there. It's an actual number. It's a calculation. Yeah. When you put it on a chart and it's a line, there are some errors in the math.
Funky.
There's some errors in the calculation. So I'm not saying it's wrong, but there are some minor errors that once the calculation adds up through the chart, it can cause some deviation. And when you're adding on a 5 minute chart or a 1 minute chart, those calculations are ever so slightly different, and they can put them in different spots. But I use the actual numerical number on the montage personally for VWAP because that is.
Yeah, that is the same across the board. Yep.
Yeah.
If you don't have it there, guys, I think you can right click here and you can select what information you want to show there on the montage and on trade ideas. So you can decide what you want to put on there, the spread, whatever you want to put on there. You can have that there. All right, so what else we have, guys? So Nvidia, quite a nice move yesterday. TZA, what's that? TZA, ETF. Yeah, you can watch this today. This is $1. What is this? No, but it's bear times 3. Yeah, you can watch this today. I won't.
That's
I won't
the
be
opposite
trading
of
this.
TNA.
Yeah, I won't be watching that today. But TNA and TSA are tradable. We have people that trade them all the time. I don't know. I haven't really traded these myself. So let's see. Neo XBEV have some volume. What's going on with them? Neo's got 1.5. Yeah, they got the volume pretty flat right now. Only up 1.7. They were better this morning. Much better. Gave some back towards the previous day close from the pre-market highs today. We'll have to see. I mean, I like the volume, which is they're not really in play. unless they start picking a direction at the market open. Last couple of days, though, much better than the crap we've seen before, guys. I mean, look at this here. It has not done anything, but the last couple of days, you are getting some continuation, including yesterday, a beautiful gap up and sell off. So if they can continue back to this type of trading with increased volume, this is the NEO we like to trade, right? That's the NEO that's usually in play. So we'll have to see if that's going to be the type of day that NEO has today. XBEV probably very similar, right, with yesterday's actions. Yeah, same thing with XBEV. You could pick whichever is better for you. I'm gonna stick with Neo. You could pick whatever you want out of those two, but they're both looking good as far as pre-market. JP Morgan raised price target on Billy. Billy, yeah, I got Billy as a possible here. Um, I see that, but I think that whatever's going on with China is a little bit more strong than that at the moment. I think it's just the back and forth, opening, closing, easing. That has if you notice the last couple of months, that has had a major effect on the way these tickers have been trading, the way they have been moving, right? So let's keep an eye on that. But yeah, what's the price target on JP Morgan gave it, by the way? In the meantime, when you look for that, let's look at GameStop, GME. No, 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 no. This is not in play at all, guys. 30,000 shares. I mean, that's nothing for this ticker. Nothing, nothing. Lucid. Let's see what we got going on here. No, okay. All right, we're gonna stop here. We're gonna stop here. That's not in play. Let's get to our company announcements and events, guys. Again, it's okay to have a light morning. We're having that this morning. It's not a whole lot there. We just gotta wait, guys. We got Neo and Tesla. We got a couple here that can
Starting to
do
get
something.
some markets to sell off here pretty sharply in the last couple of minutes.
Oh, okay. There it is.
SPY's dropping quickly. Same with the Qs. Not quite sure if I did not have Squawk on, so I don't know if there was some news or something. But maybe we're going to get a little more lively before the open.
Yeah, yeah. We'll do announcements now. Let's watch this and see if that's going to create some more opportunities for us here, which it can. We saw that yesterday as well. All right, guys. If you head over to bearwithtraders.com, click on webinars, you guys can see what's coming up for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, bearbulltraders.com/webinars or webinars at the nav bar at the top. Every Monday night, onboarding and technology with Carlos, 8 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to check that out, especially for newer traders. Then on Tuesday, we do strategy. 8 p.m. next Tuesday, we've got Carlos talking about developing an educational plan.
Tonight.
It's tonight. Yeah. I'm losing it, man. I thought it was Wednesday. I'm sorry. Tonight. Be sure to join him tonight for that, developing an educational plan, get yourself set up, get on the right foot for the new year, which was quickly coming to us. And then next week, managing the trader, not the trade. Thor will be talking about how to know when your system's working, control yourself by collecting data. So check that out next Tuesday. Wednesday, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, Pearl Harbor Day. Let's see here. Handling Pressure with Dr. Kenneth Reed. And then next week, Mike will be doing Pathway to Become a Successful Trader and the journey, the psychological journey and how to get through it. Then on Thursdays, we do mentorship at 11 a.m. with John and 8 p.m. with Thor. TradingTerminal.com. Be sure to check it out, guys. If you haven't checked it out, it is our free resource we are building out and developing and enhancing every single day, where you can find all kinds of tools that people pay thousands of dollars a year for, from replay simulators in there. And you got scanners, charting, research, fundamental data, earnings calendar, everything else. So be sure to check out tradingterminal.com. And then also, if you're on YouTube and you haven't been in the room, you can do that intro membership. Go to bearbulltraders.com on the homepage. You'll see on the far left that of the membership table, about halfway down the page, that intro. Do that and use the promo code PreMarket24, no spaces, no hyphens, PreMarket24. It'll get you a discount off the intro membership, which is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. Does not recur. It's a one-time payment.
Oh, was on mute. All right. Thank you very much, Norm. Guys, let's
just left me with awkward silence.
Yeah, that was awkward. All right, guys. So let's see what we got going on here. So right now, SPY is doing some stuff. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's see if that can create some momentum for some of the stocks that are a little bit stale this morning. Again, just Tesla and NEO, what I really like today. And even those are, well, Tesla's starting to become very interesting as we're pulling away here from the previous day close with the SPY action. But I'm sure that is going to create some other tickers, especially our usual suspects. They tend to like when the SPY is doing this type of stuff. So we'll see what happens there. Right now, as far as levels, guys, we're gonna do. Let's do all of these. I mean, it's not a whole lot here, so we'll do everything. We'll do Tesla. Prepare your questions. We'll have time for questions. We'll have time to look at other tickers that might be on your list that maybe we did not look at. So yeah, we'll get into a lot of that since we will have the time today. Here is Tesla. Low of the pre-market right now, sitting at 181.89. So we'll slam that there. But on the bigger picture on the daily, guys, look what we're seeing here. There's a great area of support that we have seen over the last couple of weeks, really. It just, again, Tesla likes to stay above. There's a couple of days did drop below that, but we quickly found our way right back to this 182 area, right? So we're slamming against that now, a little bit below it, as you can see. So that's going to be an interesting level to have on there. And you got plenty there. Previous day close, highs and lows from yesterday. Well, lows from yesterday are slamming into that as well. Below that, guys, big level, or at least decent level at 176. And then we have all the way down here around 167.50, another level on the daily in case Tesla does decide to take another dive here. Had a nice bounce here since mid-November all the way to almost 200. But again, slamming back down here with some of the sell-offs happening throughout the day yesterday. So that's NEO towards the top. I mean, sorry, that's Tesla towards the top. You're pretty much set highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. You're good there. Let's take a look at NEO. So NEO had NEO, and this will go for many of our Chinese tickers yesterday. You have seen an increase in volume, especially with NEO and XBEV, given the fact that things have been looking good as far as China easing on COVID restrictions, right? So that's a positive thing for these companies. That has been the catalyst that's been driving this thing to the ground in China, right? Like NEO hit what? $8? NEO was at 844. And many of these tickers, JD, BABA, also hitting some really extreme lows there in the last weeks or so. So again, obviously positive news, and that catalyst is going to cause things to go the other direction. NEO has seen an increase in volume in the last couple of days, and hopefully today that can continue as we have 1.6 million shares traded so far. Not really gapping up or down just yet as far as a 2%, but again, it could be interesting if we get any type of continuation on this one today. 1288 is the low of the pre-market right now. And once you slam that level there, guys, I don't think you need to add anything. Just keep it very simple. Look at your highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. They're doing a really good job of surrounding the price action with the most recent daily levels, right? So you're set there. I'm not going to add anything else to this thing here. This is looking good. Let's take a look at Billy. So again, Billy, very similar situation. Also seeing an increase in movement here. They also have an upgrade from JP Morgan, so maybe that can push them higher this morning. We'll have to see. Let me scroll down here. What do we have as far as? Okay, there we go. So yeah, we'll see what it does here. 2073 is the high of the pre-market, and very similar to NEO, your highs and lows for the last 2 trading days are doing a pretty good job here. I don't think you really need to add anything else. Also, is on my secondary list. I won't be spending too much time on it unless it hits the scanners. Now here's GitLab. This thing slamming back down towards the highs and lows of yesterday. Now this is still a big gap up because you were sitting down around 38.50 yesterday. You gapped up all the way to 46.50, and now you're down at 43. So this move still a very big move, even if we start flirting with 43 here on this ticker. What I do like is the volume is increasing, so the pre-market activity is looking much better than it was earlier. So that is good there. Let's go ahead and mark down a 46.14 high of the pre-market. Right now, your low of your pre-market. This could be an interesting area. 43. What is this? 43.55. So we're slamming level there, but then you're coming up against the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. This 43 area on there as well. Looking towards the bottom, all set. Do not need to add anything else. If you do want to add something more, the 41.31 is a good area. There's a lot of touches on there that might be worth keeping a level on. Then above that 46, in case you do decide to turn directions here, which is not looking like it wants to do that at the moment, 49.60 is your next level on this daily chart, which again, not the best daily Very, very light on volume. We need a big day today, more than 5 million to get something going here. But pre-market actually is looking pretty nice so far. NRG, again, volume is still light. I'm not going to do levels on this one. I don't think it just looks too interesting right now. We just need volume. We need some heavy volume coming in here. It is down 10%, but 244 is just not enough right now pre-market. I don't expect something great out of this because, again, if you look at the history, you're barely getting above 3 million on many of these days are stopping right short of 3 million shares traded for the whole entire day. And if you know us, we need volume. We like volume for the way we trade for our type of strategies. All right, let's get to some questions, guys. We have quite a bit of time here. Amazon. So a few guys throwing out Amazon over on YouTube and also in our chat. So let's take a look at that. Pablo on YouTube as well, throwing out Amazon here. So let's go check Amazon now. Amazon was great yesterday. So again, Amazon trades very nice, guys. Very, very nice. This morning, it's not doing a whole lot. It's got some volume here, 534. Just wrapping itself around the previous day close. But if you look at the SPY at the moment, it's just doing overall SPY stuff, right? It's almost identical. You got the drop here, the bounce a few minutes ago, and then about an hour ago or so, and now the bounce a few minutes ago again here. So if you look at that's the SPY chart. If you look at Amazon, it is just identical. I mean, if I change the name on this, you won't tell the difference between the actual price point. So just look at the SPY right now. I mean, this is one of our usual suspects. You can add it to the list to be ready for it. Right, let's put our usual suspects list here. It's going to be Amazon. The big one is going to be Apple. Nvidia was not so great yesterday, even though everything moved. Nvidia was pretty shocking. Apple, right? Usual suspect stuff as well. Again, look at the drawing here. Just overall market stuff. You got the W happening there. So that's Apple. But if you look at AMD, are we moving on AMD? 128,000 shares traded. What are we trying to hit like all-time low numbers on Nvidia and AMD on pre-market? I mean, I've never seen these numbers in quite some time. Nor right?
That's all
Am I wrong?
Peter too.
Yeah, it's probably all that AMD
Just
volume
Peter
is all
trading it
Peter.
back and forth with himself.
Yeah, he's probably trading a couple of back and forth. That's buying it and selling it to himself. I don't know what he's doing, but that's all Peter there. But yeah, very, very low volume, guys. I just don't know if these are even going to be in play today. We'll see. All right, what else you guys have? Don't forget XPEF. Yeah, XPEF looks good actually. It looks very similar to Neo. We can add it to our secondary list in case anyone's thinking if we like XPEF. We do, but I am going to go with Neo instead. If I don't find nothing else, I'll move XPEF up and I'll watch both of them. But most likely, those two are going to trade together very, very much like each other. CRM. Wow, look at the sell-off yesterday on CRM. I did not watch CRM yesterday. I know they were in play because they had earnings. I forgot what it was yesterday with them.
No, it's their CEO stuff.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, look at the sell-off yesterday. I mean, a lot of stuff sold off, but this sold off very aggressive, as you can see here. I'm not sure about today. I mean, yesterday they had news. We had the market sell-off. I don't think you're going to get that type of action again today from CRM. I mean, Salesforce just doesn't move like that, guys, on a regular basis. So I think you just might get back to some regular trading action. But given the list that we have today, if you have a gut feeling or you feel this can continue, or maybe it's an overreaction and you're looking for a play back to 142, even 139 from 133 is very decent. Put it on your secondary list. Throw it on your secondary. You do have space today to watch a couple of things that you normally won't watch because your list is not a blockbuster list today. So something you normally wouldn't put on your list because you got other stuff that's are taking priority. Something like this you can put on your list today. So we'll add it. I just convinced myself to add it to our secondary list. CRM. There we go. eBay. Wow, we haven't traded eBay in a while. eBay's not a great trader. It really isn't. For intraday trading, it's very light volume. This is a horrible pre-market activity. This is a block trade, by the way. This 997,000 that you're seeing here is a block trade. I mean, there's no pre-market activity on this. So yeah, I don't see anything great unless there's news comes out, unless negative news comes out and this thing wants to sell down to around 41. No, that's the only thing that could really be good for eBay. We need some really good news or negative news to move this down. What do we have here? So why do we guys Brian's weekly market watch on YouTube? Oh, I said, yeah, I think it's available for members, guys. So you get an email alert for all of Brian's weekly things. So I'm not sure what you mean when it's not being supported. I don't understand. Um, so you do have we do it every week. I used to do it twice a week too. And you also have a news alert, guys, a swing trading news alert. So if you guys have not signed up for it, go over to our website, go under education, and if you're looking for swing trading alerts from Brian, you can sign up for that. Very clean email, guys. Comes to you maybe once or twice a week. He tells
Which
you
one
what
is
he's
that,
watching.
Brian's?
Brian's email, yeah, his
Yeah, it
news
comes
alert.
out on Sunday.
Yeah,
Usually those are they're not listed. At least they used to not be there, but you get the link through the email,
right,
which you can
right.
sign up on through the swing trading page if you want to show that where
Yeah,
the
yeah.
email capture is.
Yeah, and which is nice because what happens is, guys, you again,
You don't have to
you
be a member either.
right, you don't have to be a member, but sign up for the newsletter, and then you get the details plus the video that he does every Sunday. Let's go over here. So here's how you can sign up for that, guys. And again, completely free, right? Head over to our website, barewoodtraders.com, click on education up here, and scroll all the way to, I believe, to the bottom. Am I on the right page? Yeah, yeah. Here we go. So all the way down here, you're gonna see swing trading by Brian. Just sign up here, put your name and email address, and you only are going to get this, right? You're not gonna get slammed with all kind of crazy stuff, right? You'll just get a very clean newsletter of the stuff he's watching, what he likes for the week, what he's in already, and you can also see his exits and entries as he's taking profits or stopping out, whatever the case may be. So yeah, take advantage of it. A lot of great information. But again, don't just follow him. I mean, you can, but don't just do that. Actually learn the process of what's going on. Guys, and go ahead and get the book. Or the book, I believe, is listed here. There it is, right there. Swing trading. There we go. Here, how to swing trade, available on Amazon. So get the book, right? Understand what's happening. Do the homework. Don't be lazy. Don't just go in there and just follow him. Understand what's going on, right? Take the time to do the homework. A lot of people don't want to do that, man. They want it just the easy way out. They don't want to put in the work. Put in the work. It's going to make you a better trader. All right. Okay. So that's eBay. I don't think it's a good one, guys. Really not much going on there. Yeah, the book is great, and it also helps you understand a bit about day trading. So even if you're not looking to swing trade right now, a lot of day traders, have confirmed that it does help them understand better the day trading side of it as well. So the more you know, the better, guys. The more you know, the better. JP Morgan, eBay, Fernando, JP Morgan. Let's take a look at that. So JP Morgan at the moment, no, I don't think it's in play. It's again very light volume, and it's okay, guys. We're not gonna get a big list today. It doesn't look like it unless the overall market starts doing something. It did drop here. Now it's bouncing back above the previous day close. It's just a lot of back and forth action at the moment. So it's okay. We're setting up for a slow day, and that is perfectly fine. A slow
I have
day.
a feeling today's not going to be slow. It's just not our normal gappers
Yeah,
list,
yeah.
decent stuff. So we're
It
not in
could be a slow
earnings
start,
season.
right?
That's over until we get into mid-January for fourth quarter earnings. I mean, of
Yep.
course, there are some people that report, but it's not nearly the number that we usually get, that we had been getting. So it's not surprising. We'll get some moves.
Yeah, we'll get something. Something will be in play. It's just not you're not gonna have 10 tickers to look at and decide which one you want to trade today, right? You might not get that. But who knows? But yeah, Matthew, I'm with you. We need Jerome Powell to get on the mic and say something.
No, we don't.
Get things moving up or down. Or we need somebody to start tweeting. Elon Musk has lost all his stuff now, so it doesn't matter what he says. But yeah, we need something to get this thing shaken up. What else do we have here, guys? Anything else? Anything else you guys want to look at? Any questions? We got some time. My list is ready. My list is going to be Tesla, Neo, Amazon, and Apple as our secondary. So we'll put these, not secondary, as our usual suspects. That's it. That's all I'm watching for now. And if something changes, we can look at something else. I see Thorga has his list ready: Microsoft, Amazon, and the overall market. What's Microsoft up to? Microsoft, not a whole lot right now, but I'm sure he's thinking of something, some kind of news or catalyst that might have broken out on that. Um, Jared looking at GTLB and some financial stocks and secondary list, which is a good one, scanners. He's looking at the scanners. Um, what else? BA. How about BA and UAAA? What is that? So BA is Boeing. What did they do yesterday? I know a lot of you guys had this one on deck. Um, oh, look, it did actually traded very well. Had a nice little pop here. Took a bit to get going, but 10 o'clock, look at the nice run of 183 to 188, right? They had the talks about possible purchases. How about United? What is this? Is that United? UAAA? No,
Mm-mm.
I don't know what that is traded
UAL
into.
is United. He could have meant UAA or UAL. UAL is United
Yeah,
Airlines. UAA is Under Armour.
right, yeah, yep. Um, Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's we'll have to see at the market open. They're not doing a whole lot right now. Yesterday they both had a nice little pop here based on the news of purchasing
They got
some
an
some
upgrade.
aircrafts. Oh, which one? UAL or
Yeah,
UAL?
UAL.
Okay. Um, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see at the market open. Right now, it's not doing a whole lot, guys. Very, very quiet. But again, we saw that yesterday. Look at that. Had nothing going on, and you did get a move out of this. Same thing with BA. BA's move was actually much cleaner, but it had nothing going on in the pre-market. So we'll have to wait for the market open on that. Uh, okay, I think we cover every tickers you guys threw out here. Qs and TZA, TNA, all that good stuff. Yep, those can be something to watch today. Um, why do you like to watch Neo more often than XBEF? That's a great question. I think Neo, if you put them, if you compare them, day by day, I think Neo moves better than XBEF on a regular basis. Now there's days like today where they both have volume, they're both moving, their daily both looks exactly the same. But I prefer Neo. I have had more success with Neo than XBEF for sure. So I'm gonna go with what's comfortable and what I've been trading more often than not. So that's why. And Neo, for the most part, again, side by side, is going to get a lot, 10 times, not 10 times, but a lot more volume, a whole lot more volume than XBEV would, right? So that right there alone is a big reason for it. And you can see it here on the daily. Let me show you, right? You could clearly see. You don't have to do a whole lot of searching. If you look at XBEV, right? Look at Neo's daily here. Look how wide these daily candles are, right? That's nice. That's what you want to see. And again, we had a good time selling this thing off here. If you look at XBEF, look how much smaller the dailies are, right? You got a couple of days, but for the most part, they are much, much smaller. Days like this, they probably traded together, but for the most part, their daily are slightly smaller. In some cases, very much so than Neo is, right? And that just means Neo probably had more volume, had a better continuation, so that's the only reason why. But today, a day like today, they both got great volume. They're both gapping up. You can watch either one. Either one. Um, so hopefully that answers your question. Andrew O. And LNTH. Is that a battery? No, it's not. What is this? No. No, not in play. Oh no. This is a no for the day, man. Definitely not in play, Kiwi Kev. Healthcare company. Yeah, healthcare companies, man, they're brutal. They are brutal to trade. I mean, look at this daily, and this is typical. What's the other? This is a few health companies that companies are bigger than this one, I think. And Merck, that's a pharmaceutical. I can't think of one. It's with the H. What is it? HTH. I forget. But they're just they're horrible, man. They're really bad intraday tickers. These health companies. So I usually stay away from them, even when they have news. That they're just funky. They're very very funky in the way that their price section is and the way they trade. See LVR is another penny no stock. So yeah, won't be watching that. Somebody traded 3,400 shares in error. They meant to trade something else, and they just they mistyped here. So hopefully they can get out of that without too much of a hassle. Dow Jones, or do you not focus on Dow Jones US? You could. We really focus on the spies and the Qs. For the way we trade, the SPY and the Qs are a better
No.
representation of what I try to trade. Go ahead. No what?
No on the Dow.
Yeah, no on the Dow. Yeah, yeah.
That's what
So
you see on the newspapers, but it's 30 companies. It's the old school way of watching the market. It really is not. A lot of times you'll see divergence between the Dow and what the rest of the markets do. So yeah, it's just not
yeah,
as useful as the others.
the
This
SPY in the queue. Yeah,
S&P 500 or the Nasdaq 100.
yeah. Again,
Hence the
it's
SPY and the Qs.
better to look at these, especially for the way we're trading, right? Um, Stock market about to crash now. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. We'll be here to find out. That's for sure. If it's gonna crash or not. I think we have people.
CPI comes next Tuesday, not Friday, by the way. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see
We're gonna
some
get
big
action.
moves to the
Yeah,
downside at some point. Not necessarily on the CPI, just in general. I think we've got another leg down at least.
yeah, yeah. All right, let's take care of a few more questions. Then we look at our moderates list, nice and strong here this morning. We got a couple of people putting in their list. Peter has his list ready to go as well, so we'll look at that in a second. Is it better to watch the SPY or futures? Good question. I'm not sure. That'd be. I mean, I don't watch the.
They're generally not. There's not a whole lot of difference, frankly. I
Yeah,
mean, if you're just looking at it as far as an index, now trading is different, but if you're just trying to watch like the ES versus the SPY, there's really no. They move generally the same.
yeah, yeah. Um, Aristaro, Art. How do you pronounce your name? Art. I was gonna say Aristotle, but that's not it. Maybe you're sure in it. But either way, if it crashes, there will be some cheap deals for us. Absolutely, you got to have your list ready. You got to have your shopping, your grocery list ready for tickers. That if they drop over a certain price, that alert goes off and it's time to buy. So things go on sale, guys. When you get these big drops, things go on sale. There's a few tickers I have that they get below that number and we're buying, right? Long term stuff, right? Not trading, but you know, read that swing trading book. It's going to help a lot as well. So make sure you do that. Can we look at cost earning cost, like the ticker? They have earnings today. This is Costco, which by the way, guys, trades horrible. Earnings Thursday after the close. Okay, earnings Thursday after the close. CPI. I thought CPI is not Friday, right?
No, it's not Friday. It's
yeah.
next
So
Tuesday.
why people keep saying Friday? Is there some information that's out there that's yeah, we'll have to wait.
PPI on Friday, but CPI is on Tuesday.
Okay, all right. So maybe that's where the confusion is coming in, but it's hard to tell. We don't know. We really don't know how this thing's gonna go. It'll be in play on Thursday if they have earnings. I haven't checked, but it will be in play. And you know, earning after hours or December 8th. Yeah, so earnings after hours here. You could trade that earning that morning. That I'm sorry, that after hours, but that morning we'll have it on our list. And even then, again, this stock is difficult. This stock is very light volume, moves a whole lot. It's not the best intraday trading stock, but overall, it'll be good to see how Costco is doing. Period. Right, it's a good indicator on how things are with the consumer. So yeah, it'll be good how they're doing. It'll be good to see. For other things, I think some other opportunities will come out of that as well. And Jared will probably get into that that morning, right? Talk a little bit about how these earnings can affect certain other things as well. Um, all right, guys, we are pretty much set. Let's take a look at our moderators list this morning. Got quite a few here. I'm going to bring this over. If you haven't done so already, guys, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. It does help us out a ton. And if it's your first time here, consider subscribing and hanging out with us tomorrow and every morning. So let's go ahead and bring this over here and see what Peter is watching besides AMD.
Meta's moving. They've got some regulatory news out of the EU. So
good or bad? What we got going on here?
The market will determine.
Okay, yeah, I see some stuff happening there. All right, and then we also have Brian. Excellent. Let's go bring our list in here, guys. So let's see what the moderators are watching. Let's expand this a little bit. There we go. All right, so starting with Thor, Microsoft, Amazon, and this overall market, Jared, GTLB, financial tickers, and also looking at some scanners as his secondary list. Jared, adding energy stocks as well. Peter, no IPOs, no SPACs for today. Peter's AMD, Apple, and Tesla on his main list. Secondary list, Amazon, XBEV, and the scanners as well. Susan will be looking at Meta, Netflix, Nvidia. Secondary list, SPY, and Amazon. And Brian will be looking at Tesla, GTLB, and FSLR. FSLR on his list. That's a flashback ticker there. What's that up to? FSLR.
They got a double downgrade from buy to sell out of a bank or research firm.
Gotcha.
Price target of 46.80. Yikes.
46. Ooh.
It's awfully specific for something that's so far from where we sit today.
Yeah. 46. We haven't been down there in quite some time. That's very interesting. It'll be fun to put this on our secondary list. That is aggressive price action there, or at least a downgrade. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining the Pre-Market Prep over on YouTube. We're going to continue here trading live in our chat. Brian and Andrew are next. If you want to check us out, you can do so. Go to the website and do Pre-Market 24 on that intro membership. You're going to get access for 7 days. Come hang out here with the team, with the members, and see what the environment is all about. So, guys, take care. Trade safe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow again. Have a great one.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.